A study by who?
The media research.
Clarence Thomas is
You already said that.
Winnebago buyer? Like, who funds these?
I just said by the independent, nonpartisan media research.
Everyone around him is laughing at him, but it's a marker of the psychopathy that he doesn't care about the social ramifications of his antisocial tendencies. This is how you know a person is not socialized, that they're not able to fit in with society. They're not able to fit in with other men. The guys around him are laughing at him. What is up, guys? We got another, what I'm guessing is going to be a hilarious interaction between Charlie Kirk and this short, I wouldn't call him a king, I'd call him a white dude for Harris. You know what's up. Well, you see, guys, we're almost at 2,000 subscribers, which means that I have to start acting like other YouTubers now. Bradley Martin, raw gear deal win. Oh my gosh, it's never making it in the video. Quick recap about some political facts. The election is about in 2 weeks. Votes are already being cast. Information on the votes being cast that we know for sure is that Trump is already being favored. All the polls show Trump being favored, some as high as 63 to 37. Kamala's freaking out as all of her social media stunts have essentially failed. She's gone on every talk show, every celebrity's endorsed her. She even has previous presidents campaigning for her, and it's still not enough. This is how unpopular the Democrat platform is. Meanwhile, Trump's social media campaign has been a tremendous success, from Nell to every other podcast. And in 3 more days, he's going to be going on Joe Rogan. That was announced earlier today. On the 25th, he's going to be going on Joe Rogan, which of course is just going to be, I think, more so than convincing people, it's going to be humiliating to the left, because what it's saying is the ultra-competent masculine men of Earth, from Elon Musk to every podcast host that's a guy. The left hates all of them. They talk about that on The View, complaining about how men having opinions on the internet is oppressive and toxic. Meanwhile, they have people debating whether or not The View is a government-funded psyop to make women look bad. But we have the most competent men of Earth endorsing Trump and endorsing freedom, liberty, America, the death of the woke mind virus. And the left is in full panic mode because they've disconnected themselves with reality, because, you know, reality is their enemy. And so they take every opportunity they can to slander it and scorn objective reality, pretend as though objective frameworks are optional and oppressive. But now that they're losing to it, the only thing that is certain in their future is a mass psychological correction, which they will have to undergo, essentially breaking their psychopathy that's been induced by the left telling them that they're good people as a result of the left telling them that they're above reality. Let's watch this video.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your service, Miss Gabbard, for anything. I just have one question related to the election for you.
Dude, Charlie's been doing this a lot. You can tell that he's tired, but he's talked to, at this point, probably over 1,000 students.
How can you endorse someone who lost the last election fair and square? There's no evidence.
Okay, so that's not an argument, right? The left doesn't engage in logic, reason, as already discussed. The only way they do see the world, though, is power disparity. So as far as they're concerned, this is an argument of, so if he lost the election, then that means he's a bad person because he has less power, which is very odd and bizarre, considering that the left tends to say that if you have less power, that means you're oppressed, and if you're oppressed, you're a victim, and if you're a victim, you're a good person. So they pick and choose how they want to apply their incoherent worldview.
Let him finish, guys.
Republican secretaries of state claimed it was fair. Trump tried to leverage the Georgia Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger. He used to find me 11.
It's so funny how college students go to Charlie to try to, I mean, it's gone, the reason it's funny is because it's gone badly for them in every single instance on the internet, and they still do it. But of course, I guess that's just part of the narcissism that's induced by the left telling them, oh, you're above reality. Yeah, objective frameworks, those things are optional. It's utterly pathetic.
1,700 votes. He has no respect for losing in our system, and what happened on January 6th?
All right, he has no respect for losing when we say that, you know, he's a bad person. That's the way they look at the world.
Happened on January 6th. A disaster. Our capital got stormed for the first time since 1812. You people claim the love of
Incorrect. Like, BLM occupied the Capitol probably 15 times.
America. Like, how does that not fire you up?
You're brainwashed.
All right, so it's a fair question. So let's talk through a couple elements of this. First, do you think the CIA should involve itself in American elections?
No.
Okay, so it did in 2020.
Show me proof.
Okay, well, Tulsi Gabbard knows this. She could tell you 50 intel officials colluded, led by Tony Blinken, due to declassified emails.
So when they ask for proof, they don't want you to provide proof. When you do provide it, they're reminded that objective reality governs reality instead of their ideology. So they're infuriated with it and they can't stand it. Whenever they say provide proof, they're hoping that you don't because they know that reality contradicts their ideology brutally. It's like when someone says, so why do you say that, the Second Amendment is good? And you're like, well, when you look at the cities with the most amount of gun crime, they have the most amount of they have the most amount of gun restrictions. And like, oh my God, how dare you say that? Oh my God. They can't handle reality.
Sending an open letter calling the Hunter Biden laptop
So
Russian.
why weren't any of the lawsuits
Let me
successful?
finish. I did not. Hold on.
He raised plenty of them.
Hold on a second. I didn't interrupt you, right?
It's crazy how every leftist is a freak. They're not socially calibrated. They're antisocial. I mean, you see it from total depravity and mental illness and inability to interact with humans, and then even the more minor cases. So far, this is a minor case with this guy interrupting him. But it's weird how every single leftist, every single one, has some sort of issue.
So let me finish. 50 intel officials, current and former, signed a letter that was used to censor on social media the fact that there is a laptop owned by Hunter Biden that showed very suspicious.
Yeah, exactly. Election interference came from the left, objectively speaking, with the Hunter Biden laptop. The left has been confronted over this and beaten with it, and they still can't accept that they cheated because, of course, that would be accepting objective reality judges them rather than their ideology. This is merely one element of their psychopathic mind state, which will be brought to heel in 15 days.
Criminal activity by both Hunter and Joe Biden. According to the Media Research Center, 1 out of 4 voters in swing states would have changed their vote if they would have known about the Hunter Biden
That's
laptop.
an utter ridiculous statement to
Well,
make.
I just cited it.
He lost by 7 million votes.
Well, hold on, no, he lost by
I'm a popular vote.
42,000 votes across 3 states. Hold on, pal. How much did he lose Arizona by? Hold on. How much did he lose this state by?
It's not about the final score. It's
10
a winner and a loser.
No, hold on.
He lost.
No,
That's how our system works.
We have an electoral
So he's admitting that his IQ is below 100.
college system.
Yeah.
So how
who
much?
got the electoral votes?
No, of course Biden did. But what was
Yeah.
the margin in Arizona?
I don't know.
It was
It's
10,000
not
votes.
in the back of my head.
Yeah. So how much in Georgia?
He doesn't even understand what's going on around him because the left, again, says that you're above reality. This is the reason why they come across as so arrogant as well. It's incompetent.
700. That's what they told Raffensperger to find
and
him.
in Wisconsin, it was
a Republican
Let
who
me
denounces
finish.
them.
And in Wisconsin, it was 21,000, right? So
It's
it was
weird how every single male that's for Biden-Harris is so emotional and easily triggered and afraid of reality all at the same time. It's bizarre.
It's actually 42,000, not 7 million.
I see it all the time.
So when you're talking about the CIA and the Department of Justice signing a letter that was then used to... I did not have my Twitter account for 30 days. We were not allowed to mention the Hunter Biden
Because you
laptop.
violated a private company's privacy.
Well, no, actually I didn't.
guidelines.
It's actually...
Yes, you did.
No, because of the Twitter files thanks to Elon Musk.
It's very bizarre to have this guy now defending a company that doesn't exist. Terms of service, pretending as though they were violated when really what they're doing is just supporting the censorship of a left-wing regime, given that Twitter was exposed after Elon bought it of being an arm of the federal government to censor and silence American voices in violation of the First Amendment. So they admit to being censorious. They admit to being corrupt and tyrannical, but they defend this by pretending to be good people at the same time. This is the definition of psychopathy. The left are psychopaths.
Musk, we now know the FBI...
And they're also emotional. They're very afraid of objective frameworks, which is the reason why they hate masculinity.
told Twitter to say you are not allowed to mention the Hunter Biden laptop. Am I correct in this, Tulsi?
That's correct.
And
So you don't trust the FBI at all?
Well,
People who
not
have
at all.
devoted
No.
their life to civil service.
That's a red herring. I'm saying in that instance, Yoel Roth, do you know who Yoel Roth was?
I don't know who
Yeah,
Yoel
okay.
Roth
Yoel
is.
Roth was the head of security, trust, and safety for Twitter that had what's called a standing room meeting every Tuesday with the Federal Bureau of Investigation in San Francisco where they...
This is blatant evil, which he's proving. But rather than even acting as if he's even mildly concerned, he's smiling and scoffing at being told that censorship was happening, which swayed the election. But he's smiling as if that's not important. It's bizarre. It's utterly psychopathic. This is not normal behavior.
A standing room meeting every Tuesday with the Federal Bureau of Investigation in San Francisco.
And I see this in liberal men. You tell them a fact which proves not only that they're wrong, but that they're evil and that their party's evil. But the dogma of the broken ideology of Marxism tells them that they're above reality. And so when they get confronted, it's as if they're exposed for, in a moment, they're exposed for playing a game which you didn't think they were playing, but they knew they were playing all the time. And so they admit it in that moment of smiling. It's like, oh, look, objective reality says you're wrong. and you're a fraud. But then they smile and be like, you thought I was playing a game of reality this entire time? I've been pretending to be a good person. I don't care about reality. We only believe in power. And in that moment, you see admitted that they are psychopathic. They have no intellectual seriousness or rigor, and they're purely bad people.
Where they met about Russian threats to American interference of elections, and they said this laptop is not allowed to be discussed on your platform. That impacted our election. People made their decisions differently in 2020, not knowing the full picture that this laptop existed, and that was the October surprise. So you would agree that that's not a fair election.
You think the laptop would have flipped the election for him?
Well, we're talking about 42,000 votes in 3 states, and I already cited a study that 1 in 4 swing voters would have changed
study? By who?
The media research.
Clarence Thomas is
You already said that.
Winnebago buyer? Like, who funds these?
I just said by the independent.
So he hates reality. The left can't stand objective reality because they're feminine and broken. What you're seeing there is a disconnection with reality that is brought upon by a feminine disconnection with reality. These are the type of people that should be bullied.
Buyer? Like, who funds these?
I just said by the independent, nonpartisan media research.
Everyone around him is laughing at him, but it's a marker of the psychopathy that he doesn't care about the social ramifications of his antisocial tendencies. This is how you know a person is not socialized, that they're not able to fit in with society. They're not able to fit in with other men. The guys around him are laughing at him.
Center, where they said 1 out of 4 voters would have changed their opinion. So I just want to make sure we're clear, though. You agree our government should not interfere with our elections.
Well, they have
Owned and destroyed. Wow.
to regulate them by nature. That's the states have to.
Well, no, hold on.
Otherwise, we wouldn't have an election.
Right, the states have to regulate elections to make sure the left wins, the Democrats win. That is the position of the left because they believe they're better than you.
Because you need
I
rules and
said
a judge.
interfere. So should the federal government be able to restrict our speech during elections?
Well, when you have what happened in 2016, where Russia.
So that's a really good question because the result of what they did is denying reality. So the question is essentially to this broken human. Should the left be able to say the opposite of reality and prevent reality from being seen to ensure that they win? And this is where you see the corruption admitted in the incompetence and feminine energy of this very short man.
Disinformation spreads all over Facebook and other platforms, then you have.
So wait,
it was not a lie.
who is-
It was not a lie. Read the Mueller report. Another Republican.
you realize
respected.
the Mueller report found that there was no tangible collusion between Donald Trump or the Russian Federation.
It wasn't about, but
hold
it
on,
wasn't just a collusion thing. It's a 430-page report.
I want to try to find common ground here, okay? I want to try to find common ground. Can we agree that 2020 was decided by very few votes?
No, because it wasn't.
Well,
So it was, objectively speaking, the left hates reality. Can't stand it. This is the reason why they're so feminine.
42,000 votes is very few, right?
No.
What is the percentage of 42,000?
It's not about.
So now he's owning him.
George Bush and Al Gore were as close as ever in 2000. Al Gore conceded, said, you know what, I lost. There might be a challenge.
Hold on, but
because he cared about the good of the country.
You know, Al Gore brought it all the way up to the Supreme Court, man, and he said that Bush was not the duly elected president.
And he could have gone further because.
How do you go further than the Supreme Court?
The Supreme Court sent it back to judgment in the Florida State Supreme Court again, and Gore said, no, I'm not doing that. Just move on. Bush is the president. For the good of the country. Because people used to care about our country.
No, and of course, so are you trying to imply Trump doesn't care about the country?
Yes, that's absolutely what I'm implying. You think... You think he's...
So you see this idiot is now admitting that he doesn't care about reality. This is who the left is. But they're gleeful. So he's smiling now in stating the opposite of the truth because they're actually gleeful in saying the opposite of reality. This is the psychopathic tendency that must be brought to heel. The psychopathic state of leftists has to be broken because they believe that they're better than you. It's essentially psychopathy en masse.
That's absolutely what I'm implying. You think... You think he sits in...
So everyone's laughing at him right now. Everyone's laughing at him for being an idiot. His response is to smile, gleeful in the fact that he's saying the opposite of the truth rather than change what he's saying. This is the position of the left.
In his gold room in Trump Tower and thinks, oh, how can I make things better for everyday Joe?
So let me ask one thing, and I'd love to have Tulsi. Just help me understand. So his business empire has been taken away from him. He's facing...
Yeah, because he broke the law.
Can I finish my thought?
It's crazy that this guy just hates reality. They create no value. They understand nothing about business. These are unserious people.
He's facing 700 years in federal prison. He's been shot once with multiple assassination attempts. Why keep running for president if he doesn't love the country?
Because 100 years from now in a history textbook, it's going to say Donald Trump's name, and that's what motivates narcissists.
Okay. You want to chime in? Okay. Look, I will say this. I hope you do some research because
I've done my research. You need to do your research.
You clearly have it, man. You clearly
look,
have
I will say this as kindly as I can. One day I hope you open your eyes because you've been significantly brainwashed on this topic. And I guess the final question I'll ask is this. If Donald Trump wins in 3 weeks, will you accept that as a legitimate result?
Yes.
Okay, I'll hold you to
That's
that.
the difference between me and you.
Okay, did Trump win in 2016?
Yes.
But you said that Russian interfered.
Russian interference had a role in the election, but Trump won fair and square. He had more votes and more. And notice
which
how
one is it
Hillary supporters didn't storm the
Well, no,
Capitol.
hold on. Hillary never conceded.
Yes, she did.
No, hold on.
She had a concession speech the day after the election. I watched it in middle school.
Hillary Clinton said Donald Trump was not the legitimate president of the United States.
That's one milked clip that is played all over the internet. Yeah, she had a concession speech. When's the Trump concession speech in 2020? Show it to me.
Let me ask one more question. Are you voting for Kamala Harris?
Yes, I am, proudly.
What's her greatest accomplishment?
Her greatest accomplishment? I would say that she's going to legalize marijuana federally, something that's been overdue by 100 years.
It's really funny. It's really funny because she put people in jail for that. It's great. The left hates reality. These people are broken. Like I said at the beginning of the video, it's very interesting to see how there's no exceptions to the people that stand against freedom, reason, masculinity, objective parameters are all destroyed. All of them. They're not serious people. When the things that they say are represented as openly insane, they laugh at themselves, acknowledging that they're not serious, but yet they're trying to be tyrants at the same time.
Thank you.
Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I've been on Charlie Kirk before, discussing a clip very similar to this one. So we're all on the same side here. Vote Trump, and let's hold these psychopaths accountable.